So we knew each other quite well. And we both decided that neither of us would touch a drop throughout the shooting. Simple as that. Except for Friday nights. After the week's work. And Richard's then wife, Sybil, and my then wife, Sian, both Welsh, called it Collier's Night Out, Coal Miner's Night Out. And we'd be absolutely virtuous, with Donald looking at me and John looking at Richard and all the other first-class people in it. And then on Friday night, we just go, woo! There was a marvellous moment when we'd done the last shot in that big cathedral. And we went on the town, the bearers. And it was suddenly realised that they needed a shot with the two of us, no dialogue or anything, before they pulled the set out. Well, Richard was found in a place called the Pair of Shoes. I was under a piano in the garrison club. We were both all onto the set, dressed as kings and archbishops, not quite knowing what on earth was going on. So that's the only time we misbehaved.
If you say so. Had you known Richard Burton well before Beckett?
Not well, but I knew him. As I say, we were neighbours. We lived 100 yards from each other, and he and my then wife were children together, as it were. They both started a new business. And he was Welsh, and my mother-in-law, in fact, had looked after him when he was a young fella. I knew all the Burtons, all the Jenkins. We were just good pals.
I told a story before the screening of the notice that you heard that he was going to play Beckett from Hal Wallace, and you said splendid, and he heard that you were going to play the King, and he said splendid, and that's sort of, but it's and that was, is that true? And was it the first time you worked together? Yeah. And what was it like to work with him? Did you, obviously you found him to be a wonderful actor?
Oh, we were great pals, and I, what you can see together was just click. Got on. There's an old cricketing expression, a pair of safe hands. And I knew with Richard that safe hands, no matter what he did, he'd be there, and he knew that I'd be there. So that was fine.
I have a quote I'm trying to find here. Yeah, this is from Richard Burton. He says, acting is universally regarded as a craft, and I claim it to be nothing more, except in the hands of the odd few men and women who, once or twice in a lifetime, elevate it into something odd and mystical and deeply disturbing. I believe Peter O'Toole to have this strange quality. I mean, the guy didn't even win an Oscar, so I don't know whether that even matters.
I've seen Richard in 1953 playing Hamlet at the Old Vic, and playing Toby Belch, and playing Coriolanus, and he was outstanding. And he had, he brought his own cathedral on stage, if you follow me. Tremendous power and stillness, and that glorious voice ringing up around the Old Vic. I beg your pardon. And as I say, I was playing the Duke of Cornwall in a production of King Lear, and there was a knock at the door, 1955 or 6, and it was Richard Burton. As to say, well done. Thank you very much. And then, as we'd knock around together, and He loved playing billiards, I loved playing billiards. We both followed rugby. He was a former rugby player. So was I, strangely enough. What can I say? Just a good colleague, a good friend.
Did you, he had finished Cleopatra when you were making Beckett.
Yes.
Was all the press attention that came with that any kind of distraction, or did you just simply not care?
Well, at that time, Richard had, he and Elizabeth had bumped into each other.
Use up your card.
The previous year, but he returned to the bosom of the family. And we were just too busy to get on with it. No, it didn't touch at all. But we were filming the scene on the horses on that beach, way up in Northumberland in England. And suddenly there was a great pile of photographers and press. Elizabeth had landed in Newcastle, which is a little industrial mining town, wearing a blonde wig and dark specs. And that's when the fun and games began, but not until the end of the book.
I think there had been some fun and games during Cleopatra. I don't know, I wasn't there. Let's get back a little bit to some of the stories. Some people must know this, but you had obviously broken through a couple of years earlier in a small little picture called Lawrence of Arabia. This was the follow-up to that film. It is a well-known story, but I suspect not to everyone. How did you get cast as Lawrence?
I was playing Shylock.
I need the microphone.
I was playing Shylock in The Merchant of Venice at Stratford in Shakespeare, and Petruchio in Taming of the Shrew. And I got a phone call from David Lee, and would I ever be coming to London? So, yes, I would. Could we meet? So I went down to London, and I had grown my own beard for Shylock, my hair was long. And David said, "What do you look like underneath all that?" So we chopped a bit off, and my hair was naturally fair, and he could really like me a bit more. And I said, "What's going on?" He said, "I'm looking for someone to play Lawrence of Arabia." Now there were about 20 Lawrence of Arabias going off. People have been trying to make that film since the 1920s, it's the silent days. And T. Lawrence himself had written a script.